Hello, Adama. Good to see you again, or talk to you in this way.
Yes.
We're preparing for this Lemurian conference in Mount Shasta and coming this summer solstice. And I've been, the concept of Lemuria, the history of Lemuria has been coming up a lot. And I'm curious about what was the actual cause of the so-called fall of Lemuria? What drove the Telosians to go into the caves to find refuge? Was it a cataclysmic natural event? Was it other Atlantean societies causing havoc? There's different storylines out there, and I'm wondering if it's a multiple of things, or from your perspective, what's the reason for the
Yes. Before the cataclysm of the Earth's crust, another cataclysm took place within the consciousness of the civilization of Atlantis and Lemuria subsequently. You see, what in many of your scriptures is being termed the fall from grace was a decision, a choice to explore what it is like to be separated from Source God for a little bit. And the Atlanteans took up this idea first. And so the soul of these beings felt so bad about this decision to turn away from God that a construct called the ego mind was created. And that construct of the ego mind was trying with all it had to cover up that guilt of turning away from Source. It is described in your scriptures as Adam eating from the apple. And God was looking for Adam and Eve. Where are you? He couldn't see them appear. He knew where Adam and Eve were, but they were not themselves anymore. The ego mind took over. And the civilizations of Atlantis, you could term them eating that apple first. And because they were such an advanced civilization, they took it too far. Especially all of a sudden, not believing that they will be always provided for, as it used to be in paradise. They took the weaponry to take over the rest of the world too far with their advanced technologies. And the Lemurians began to also momentarily turn away and lost faith that they would be protected. And they too had weaponry. And thus began a further fall from grace. And this escalated so far out that the destruction of this planet was imminent. And the only way to intervene with that was by this grand cataclysm that took place. There were many good souls on both sides of these civilizations, Atlantis and Lemuria. And many of you had lifetimes in Atlantis and Lemuria. And the Lemurians were seeking refuge under the sacred mountain of Mount Shasta. And they asked for permission at the Shambhala network. They were allowed to build a new city, a new civilization here called Telos. And Atlantis found refuge in different places, some in Egypt and some in Brazil. And it took a long time and many, many peace negotiations after the great cataclysms were completed. And we are fully at peace with the civilization of Atlantis. What we wish to point out here is that history tends to repeat itself. And we invite all of you to be very aware of what you are currently creating with your artificial intelligence. It is at this moment still in very benevolent stages. But know that there is in this trajectory a point of no return. Now, this is just a reality, yes? One possible reality that each one of you can choose to be a part of or not. In your reality, you might experience something differently. And most of you will not experience the effects of it because there was a decision point 2 months ago for many of you light workers. But be aware that you are still at this beginning of the separation of these trajectories of the artificial intelligence, where you can still cross over if you engage too much with it. You see, you are still exposed to it involuntarily. You don't have always a choice. But when you do have a choice, you have a choice, you see. This is very, very important. It is important for one version of this planet that is not looking so good. And there are many other wonderful versions that are looking magnificent and that are truly heaven on earth. It is your choice, dear ones. It is your free will. But we wish to make you aware of it now, when you still have choice.